Hello everyone, welcome to the Prefabricated Architecture course. Today we mainly introduce the development of prefabricated buildings. In fact, the development of prefabricated buildings has existed in ancient times. For example, 447 BC. Prefabricated stone Doric pillared building. Located at Parthenon Temple in Athens, ancient Greece, and Gyeonghang 3 years of the Tang Dynasty 782. The prefabricated wooden structure building of the main hall of Nanzanji Temple in Wudi Mountain, Shaanxi Province, China is a representative. From the perspective of international development, the current development of prefabricated buildings is relatively prominent in European and American countries, such as the United States, Germany, Singapore, Japan, and other countries. The development of prefabricated buildings is relatively mature. The types of prefabricated concrete building materials products. Components and parts in the United States are complete, and the level of component generalization is high. Germany is the fastest growing country in reducing building energy consumption. In recent years, Germany has put forward the concept of passive building with zero energy consumption under the promotion of policies. The prefabricated concrete buildings construction industry in Singapore has achieved good development. Take the HID Flats project as an example. Singapore enforces the assembly of HID Flats project. At present, the assembly rate can reach 70%. Because of the frequent earthquakes and high intensity in Japan. The seismic isolation technology of prefabricated concrete has been greatly developed and widely used. This technology has also been used for reference by Chinese construction enterprises. From 1950 to 1970, France began to implement prefabricated concrete buildings. After decades of development, it has been relatively perfect, and the assembly rate has reached 80%. Through the experience of the above countries in developing prefabricated buildings, we get the following enlightenment. We should choose the development direction of prefabricated buildings in combination with our own geographical environment, economic and technological level, and resource supply level. The government should play an active leading role in the development of prefabricated concrete buildings. Improving the industrial chain of prefabricated concrete buildings is the key to the development of prefabricated concrete buildings. Next, learn about the current situation of China's development. It can be said that the domestic prefabricated development has experienced 3 rises and 2 falls. The first time, from the 1950s to 1960s. The technological innovation of the construction industry was gradually completed, and the transition to construction industrialization was gradually completed. The second time, from the late 1970s to the late 1990s. Since the 1990s, commercial housing has driven the rapid development of the real estate industry, and people demanded diversification and personalization of housing design. At this time, the building industrialization in China was still at a low level, lacking an integrated platform and the strength to meet personalized needs. There were many quality problems in large panel building, and the seismic resistance of the structure was questioned. The third boom set off. It was then that China introduced a series of national policies. The report to the 18th National Congress of the Communist Party of China proposed to unswervingly follow the new path of industrialization. March 23, 2017 issued the 13th Five-Year Action Plan for Assembly-Type Buildings. In the report, General Secretary Xi Jinping pointed out that developing green buildings, continuously promoting green and low-carbon development, and promoting the harmony between human beings and nature. Prefabricated buildings actively respond to the National Green Building Development Strategy. In 2022, 30 provinces in China have set phased targets for the scale of prefabricated buildings. And in the next 5 years, the proportion of prefabricated buildings in new buildings should reach more than 30%. Beijing Housing and Urban Rural Construction Bureau and other 10 departments issued the Beijing Green Building Creation Action Implementation Plan 2020 to 2022. In 2022, to achieve the proportion of prefabricated buildings, accounted for more than 35% of new build-up area. Hebei Province issued the Housing and Urban Rural Construction 14th Five-Year Plan stressed. By the end of the 14th Five-Year Plan, the proportion of new assembly-type buildings accounted for the proportion of new buildings reached 30%. In 2022, the Department of Housing and Urban Rural Development of Guizhou Province issued the 14th Five-Year Plan for the Development of Construction Technology and Green Building in Guizhou Province, which proposed that the proportion of assembled buildings in the province's urban new buildings reached more than 20%. In 2019, COVID-19 was rampant, and Third Bureau of China Construction Company took the lead in completing the construction of Liangshan Hospital and Hushenshan Hospital within 10 days. Both hospitals are prefabricated buildings. Such a rapid China speed is the general trend of the transformation and upgrading of the construction industry under the advocacy of national policies. The development concept of informatization, intelligence, industrialization, green and sustainable, has become a new roadmap for the development of the construction industry. COFCO Vang Changyang Peninsula is the first pilot project in Beijing to implement preferential policies on area incentives for residential industrialization. The prefabrication rate of prefabricated composite exterior wall panels has reached 85%. The prefabrication rate of prefabricated stairs, balcony panels, and air conditioning panels has reached 100%. And the prefabrication rate of prefabricated laminated slabs has reached 45%. The Beiyou-Duobang project in Qingpu District, Shanghai, is a 100% prefabricated building, of which the prefabricated assembly rate is 30%. It adopts 3 prefabricated structural systems: laminated slab-type shear wall structure, integral prefabricated shear wall structure, and prestressed prefabricated frame structure. The traditional construction industry is facing many problems, such as insufficient compliance with economic development, huge consumption of energy and resources, serious environmental pollution, extensive production methods, a large number of common quality problems, difficult employment, etc. At present, we should change the construction mode. Promote the transformation and upgrading of the construction industry and experience rival. Compared with traditional buildings, prefabricated buildings have the advantages of integrated design, industrial production, prefabricated construction, integrated decoration, information management, and so on. At the same time, there are also shortcomings, such as increased cost, increased freight, size constraints, height constraints, and poor seismic resistance. The state is also vigorously promoting and using new prefabricated technologies and processes. It is expected that in the near future, the seismic resistance of prefabricated buildings in China will also be qualitatively improved. Why does the state attach so much importance to the development of prefabricated buildings? Since the founding of China has always been a population superpower. But with the promotion of new urbanization, industrialization, artificial intelligence, and the transformation of modern people's ideas, the so-called demographic dividend has gradually disappeared in recent years. With the rising labor costs, the aging labor population, as well as the labor shortage and recruitment difficulties in recent years, indicate that traditional labor-intensive industries such as construction and manufacturing are facing great challenges. How to deal with it? National and local policies give us the answer. That is, the upgrading of the construction industry. And prefabricated buildings are the products of industrialized construction after the upgrading of the construction industry. The development of prefabricated buildings can not only reduce the labor required for on-site operations, but also improve construction efficiency, energy conservation and environmental protection, standardize operations, and ensure quality and safety. The development of green building is imperative. Green building is the carrier of the construction industry to achieve green development. And prefabricated building is an important part of green building. Intelligent construction draws a blueprint, and the Luban spirit builds a new Guizhou. In the next 20 years, China's building industrialization and prefabricated buildings will usher in a golden period of vigorous development. And I hope that students will seize the opportunity to do your effort for the construction of the motherland. Well, that's all for today's course. Thank you.